Whoa, what's happening to me? And on my wedding day. Whoa, good thing my wedding won't be interfered by Dreamworks. Monsters vs. Aliens, directed by Conrad Vernon and Rob Lesserman, and is the 16th DreamWorks movie overall. So Monsters vs. Aliens tells the story of Susan, who is the bride-to-be of her fiancé Derek, and on her wedding day she is struck by a meteorite containing a source of power called the Quantanium, which transforms her into the lady from Attack of the 50-Foot Woman, and she is imprisoned by the government in a facility for monsters, and they change her name to Ginormica. And when the alien warlord Galaxar declares war on Earth, the government sends Susan, the missing link, Bob, Cockroach, and Insectosaurus to kick this alien threat in the arse. Happy 10th anniversary, Monsters vs. Aliens. I do remember seeing this movie with my mum and my sister, even though this was the first ever 3D movie ever made. Wow, 3D movies have existed for a decade now. I can't believe it. And what are our thoughts on this movie to this day? Yeah, it's neither DreamWorks' best nor their worst. Sadly, DreamWorks have forgotten about this movie because it was one of their flops, just like Shark Tale and Rise of the Guardians. And DreamWorks, they instantly do nothing with their movies that flop. But Monsters vs. Aliens, it's one of their good but not great movies to me. So let's get to my positives. Easily the best character in this movie is Susan, hands down. Finally, we have a female protagonist in a DreamWorks movie, voiced amazingly by Reese Witherspoon herself, Elle Woods in Legally Blonde, and she also recently voiced the Mama Pig in Sing. Oh god, the sooner we forget about Sing, the better. But as for Susan slash Ginormica, yeah, this is her best voice acting job in an animated feature. Susan is by far the best developed character of our protagonists. She's the one in the group that has a decent storyline and does everything of the team, but you still feel so much sympathy for her, especially the moment where she becomes the 50-foot woman on her wedding day. Where did DreamWorks base her character off? Ah, yes. Attack of the 50-Foot Woman. That's exactly where DreamWorks got to the idea and inspiration for Susan. And DreamWorks sure love dramatic weddings. First in Shrek and now Monsters vs. Aliens. But one thing I don't get about that scene, when Susan is growing to 50 feet tall, how is her dress not ripping off? In reality, she would be totally nude. I guess DreamWorks wanted to keep this movie PG friendly, and you wouldn't show a nudity in a PG animated family movie. And also, I never got why Susan's hair would change from a brunette to white in her transformation. I guess that's just an effect from the Quantonium, but still, Susan is awesome. Visually, this movie deserves bonus points for its tremendous animation animation and visuals. This movie, the scale of it is off the scale. You have a 50-foot woman, you have a 100-foot robots, and insectosauruses battling, and the humans, just they look like Lego minifigures in comparison to these monsters and aliens. So this was not a bad first movie for DreamWorks to be released in 3D, and they take full advantage of the 3D, and best scene in this entire movie is the scene that delivers everything we wanted and came to see in this movie, which is monsters and aliens pounding one another, and at the same time helping innocent civilians on the Golden Gate Bridge. That was what a badass fight that was. That robot which Galaxar sent is a far bigger a threat than Galaxar ever will be. I'll touch on Galaxar in my negatives, but this robot is such a good threat, so you're like, holy shit, is there any way it can be defeated? And of the other monsters, I at least liked Bob. He had the best and the most hilarious lines, and Seth Rogen is legitimately awesome at voicing him, just as he is at voicing Mantis in the Kung Fu Panda trilogy. Seth Rogen should just stick to DreamWorks movies, because they're some of the few good movies he stars in. That's all I have for my positives on Monsters vs. Aliens, because this is a decent DreamWorks movie, but not one of their masterpieces. As for my negatives, this movie doesn't live up to its full potential, because it doesn't give us enough of what we came to see. It doesn't give us enough of the title, Monsters vs. Aliens. Literally, there is a surprising lack of action in this movie. And other than Susan and Bob, I don't give a shit about the other two monsters in the crew, like the missing link and cockroach. They have no personality to them, and they just exist to make gags, like the pool party house sequence at Susan's parents. What? Did that scene advance the plot in any way? Hell no. It was just filler for some gags that didn't even land a chuckle from me. And also, I think the colonel of, the head guy at the Monster Corp, who talks like a classic army general. All right, monsters, move out. He is a douchebag. He literally imprisons Susan, an innocent girl, in a sanctuary away from her parents, and he changes her name forcefully to Ginormica without her permission. I'm like, sorry, dude, but she's not gonna hurt anybody. She's just a girl. Let her go free. And she's no danger. And Galaxar, holy shit, is one of the worst DreamWorks villains I have ever seen, period. He not only is his design shit, even a 5-year-old could have designed a better alien antagonist than him, but he has... His backstory made no sense. He destroyed his homeworld for no reason, and now he just wants to repopulate Earth with clone Galaxars, because the plot needs a villain for our monsters to fight. And also his name, Galaxar, that is the most unoriginal villain name I've ever heard. And the final battle on Galaxar's ship, it is super anticlimactic and lacking in the epicness of the bridge battle with the robots. And the worst character in this entire movie would be Derek, Susan's former fiance. If there was a character I hated more than Galaxar, it would be him. Derek doesn't care about or love Susan. Derek doesn't care about or love Susan. He selfishly is just marrying her in the first place, just because he wants a hot wife to make himself look good on his show. That's why Susan is a strong figure for women everywhere. It does teach them not to marry assholes like Derek. And even after all the efforts she makes with him, he splits up with her just because of her size. To quote Cornwall in Quest for Camelot, Derek's definitely a jerk, a giant jerk. I think Derek should have gotten more of a comeuppance than he did. So overall, Monsters vs. Aliens is still an enjoyable movie that's returned the classic 1950s monster and alien movie formula to the 21st century. Don't go into it expecting Dreamworks to make something that can rival Pixar. Sure, it's not easy being released the exact same year as Pixar's tearjerker Up, or James Cameron's Grand Tour of Pandora, that was Avatar, but Monsters vs. Aliens can still be viewed as one of the good movies of 2009. This movie does deserve a sequel to improve upon it, because it does end on a cliffhanger, indicating where the monsters travel to Paris, and you never know, they could improve the villain, they could improve the plots, so it's more about the monsters versus aliens and develop the other monsters more. A sequel would be a monster success. I give Monsters vs. Aliens 3 stars out of 5. Good movie. While I may not get to review every single Dreamworks movie that I have not given my thoughts on yet before How to Train Your Dragon 3: The Hidden World, but I will cover some of my personal favourites, don't you worry. Well, I love you guys, thank you for watching, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. And what do you think of Monsters vs. Aliens? Please comment and let me know. Please like this video and subscribe. Please follow me on Twitter and on Google Plus and on Instagram. And I'll see you next time when I review Unbreakable in anticipation for M. Night Shyamalan's Glass. And remember, movies are us. Bye, guys.